let's engage an energy analyst on what this means for all of us. Are we going to experience power outages during our Bronya celebrations? Dr. Shafic Suleman has joined me. Doc, thank you very much. If you can kindly unmute for me.
Yeah, I'm muted.
Okay, great. Great to have you as always.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me too.
Okay, you're welcome. Now, Doc, from where you sit, where are we in terms of power supply?
Okay, currently we are within the limits. I mean, there are some power supply is ongoing, and we have some few outages here and there. I mean, especially coming from mostly densely populated areas, Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Accra. I mean, we are currently experiencing slightly unstable power in terms of from the consumer side. From the producer side, you know already what is happening because of the economic challenges Ghana is facing, and also because of payment issues coming from the government, some of the IPPs, starting with Sonia Sugli, now moving towards Car Power, ASCA, Amandi, and the rest are also being challenged with financial commitments coming from government to at least maintain their operational operations. I mean, so far you can see they are also demanding that government is not being forthcoming with payment, so it's affecting their ability to actually generate power. So that's where we are currently. So if nothing is done immediately, which we have already forewarned, I mean, the country will be plunged into continuous or what we call Dumsor going forward.
We have had some persons calling out the IPPs for breaching agreement. Did the IPPs breach any agreement?
You say breach agreement, as we said, we have a contractual agreement between the IPPs and then relatively ECG or the off-takers of power. You wouldn't say the IPPs breach any agreement. We have something called contract of good faith. Maybe within the contractual agreement, you are obliged to not hold ransom your party. And I don't think that the IPPs because continuously they've been supplying power on debt. Continuously, most of them have been supplying power from the beginning of this year without being paid, and it is relatively reasonable for them to actually demand for payment. And if they are not being given their payments and they cannot even support themselves to even maintain the power plants, and they decide to shut down, I mean, it's reasonable for their part. But you see, it is a country we are all developing and building. So the IPPs are also here for business as much as they are here to help Ghana to sustain. And I'm not saying that they can also at a point hold government at ransom. It means where they are currently, in fact, they are overstressed. That's why they are actually shutting down. It doesn't make sense because you make more money when your power plant is online or when you are running your power plant. So it doesn't, from their perspective, it doesn't make economic sense for them to say they are shutting down because they are going to continuously accumulate debt. So when they are pushed to this level to actually come out and say they are shutting down, it really means that they are being stretched by government. And I think it's rather the government that is not forthcoming with their obligations, and government is not being, let me put it in a much more milder way, being truthful with the financial circumstances they are facing and actually also being truthful to the IPPs. If not, an IPP has no business shutting down. It's like an aeroplane. An aeroplane parked at the airport is actually making more losses compared to it being in the air. So an IPP has no business shutting down. The most important part of an IPP business is to continuously put their power generators on. So if they are being stretched to shut down, it's not their fault. It's the fault of government.
Now, Doc, if we are not operating or if we are not supplying at full capacity, does it mean that we are going to already? We have seen a few power disruptions across the country. Does it mean that we are going to see more power disruptions?
West of it, because right now, if about 450 megawatts is going to go off the grid, unless government has already planned with other, I think there's a power plant that has been currently inaugurated by the president last week, LA Power, unless that power plant is ready to supply. But from what I see and what I'm hearing, the government is forcing power to actually run beyond its capacity. And B power is what we call a peak power plant. B is very expensive. It then means that even if government allows all these power plants to shut down without paying or making obligations to pay, very soon our power tariffs will be extremely expensive because we are relying on B power to run, which is extremely expensive to actually come on stream. So whatever be the case, going forward or the next few weeks, the power supply situation is going to worsen, and it then means that demand will be higher than supply, and automatically we are moving to power outages and Dumsor, as we call it in Ghana.
This morning, we learned that some IPPs have equally shut down. I have heard the acting MD of the ECG saying some of them have shut down not because of debt, but because of operational challenge. They need to go under maintenance. Is that what you're also picking up?
Not at all, because as I said, it doesn't make any economic sense for any IPP to shut down. They have planned maintenance every year. So if an IPP is shutting down, it means that they are being paid. It takes a lot of energy to shut down as an IPP for even a day or two. It's only based on economic reasons for that an IPP would shut down. Maintenance is planned. Maintenance, scheduled maintenance are all planned. An IPP or a power plant cannot just, unless it's an unscheduled maintenance, which is something that happens all of a sudden, that they will tell you that they are shutting down. But aside that, if they have capacity to supply and they are available to supply, in fact, you don't have any business asking them not to, or they don't have any business saying that they will not supply, because their supply is, their ability to supply power is when they make a lot of revenues. So no IPP will intentionally or would state that they are shutting down. Not at all. That's not the business of an IPP. They are supposed to continuously supply power. So if someone else is saying that IPPs are shutting down because of other reasons aside economic, then the person must come again, because we already know most of these IPPs are struggling to maintain their financial stability, to also pay their debts. In fact, most of them are struggling to maintain their operational financial capabilities, to even just pay workers, buy fuel, and do routine activities around the IPPs. Most of them are struggling. And with this, if you can't even have little financial ability to maintain your day-to-day operations, you'll be forced to shut down. So it's not about maintenance. Maybe one or two of them may be in the position of maintaining or routine maintenance. But as it stands now, looking at what happened to Sona Asugli and the rest, is beyond just finance. It's beyond just maintenance. It's more to do with economics, finance, and financial stability.
But do you know these IPPs that have shut down beyond Sona Asugli? Is it the number that we are all picking up? Is it 5? Is it 6? How many?
So relatively, last week we had a conversation and we spoke with the president for the CEO of Independent Power Producers, and it was very clear that this week 3 of them would be joining, and 3 of them, we have Car Power, we have Aska, and then we have Amendi. They've also indicated, their intentions to shut down. In fact, one of them is only supplying far below its capacity. So as of now, the 3 that we knew from last week will be shutting down have joined Sona Asugli. As I said, it is not their intention to shut down. No power plant has the intention to shut down. They only shut down when it is beyond their control. And I think government is strongly to be blamed for not meeting their financial obligations.
All right, Doc, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much, as always, for sharing insights with us. That's Dr. Shafic Suleman. He is an energy analyst.